Welcome back to episode 10. I hope you enjoyed the last episode and the shorts. And yeah, it's been a time here for sure. A lot has happened off camera. I was able to play but not record. But so we have a lot of things to show off. And you probably ask yourself, well, look, where's the time lapse? Well, we did. So we got double time lapse last week, and you didn't fulfill your side of the bargain. Where are the views? Where are the views? Come on. Come on. So as punishment, no, well, as far as I can tell, there's no plan for a time lapse this episode, but we did a lot. And as you might, well, let me turn my, we might have lost all of our levels. We lost more than just our levels, actually. We may have lost our boots, and we lost our axe, and we lost our pickaxe, and we lost our bow. So we had to use some netherite, which was painful, but it is what it is. And I'll explain what happened. But first, we have to go to the nether, because that's where it all begins. And we've been a little bit of a chunk loader menace. We've been wanting to have a lot of iron, and why we want so much iron will become apparent when you see the farm I built. So where do we go? We go this way. It's over here, and I actually planned to build this probably like the first week, but I wasn't sure the real estate, and as you can see, it's a little bit. It's just high enough where one rocket won't get you there. So there's a lot going on here. You can ignore this. I made a, you can probably tell what this is. This is a wither skull farm. It does wither skeletons, and everything here has a very specific purpose, and I'll explain all of it. Now, behind me, we have a piston, which this is where we stand. And we haven't really figured out how to, so slimes keep spawning on our portal, which is wonderful. I don't know how, and why I don't know how will become apparent in a quick second, because we put in some protection to deal with this. Yeah, see, so look, we have been getting some skulls. We have 61 skulls so far. Now the reason, it's funny I didn't turn off this. So this is an on and off etho clock, and the idea behind this is simple. Down below, instead of doing like a big AFK-able thing, we made a little area like this. And the reason we did this is we're on a multiplayer server, and it's not uncommon, as you can see by the flames, for people to run around the nether for some stuff. And I found that when you, because the way this works is you have a fella in a boat, and they attract the guys, and they, run towards it. Now, obviously what happens is you get a lot of this. You get skeletons and blaze, and it's kind of a problem, right? Well, that's where that etho clock comes in that I'm on top of, is the idea is every once in a while, that etho clock will push me up, unrender these fellas, and it kind of starts it all from scratch. Because the blaze will just sit here, and we haven't really gotten it to the point where we have enough wither roses to really deal with them. I mean, obviously you can tell they've been doing their job. Let's see, when's that thing gonna go off? When are we gonna get our bounce? Trust me, it works. It works. Or actually, did it go off and I just didn't notice? See, look, so we went up. Oh no, we didn't. We just went into the wall. So I made it a little bit longer of a timer because what I noticed happened was there wasn't enough time for the skulls to move. Am I not on top of it? Whatever. You get the point. They despawn, a new thing comes. Now, the other problem I found with this farm is the wither skeletons will sit in the portal long enough where they'll go back through. And what I noticed is that if you put a little piglin on this side, which was a pain in the butt to do, as you can see by the tower stuff, is they'll get right to the edge, so they're not going to go through the portal again. And when another person comes, they fall down. And by some sheer luck, a baby happened to be on the roof right as I finished this tall staircase of craziness. But as you can see, it's working. And the reason why we have this little thing here is so I can walk through every once in a while and pick up the XP, so I don't cause any lag. But yeah, it's pretty good. Obviously, it would be better if I could have more wither roses in the system, but we've had a problem with that, and that's how we lost our stuff. If we're being perfectly honest, we lost our stuff not to the skeletons, which we did die to the skeletons, to be honest. When you're building this farm, it's mistakes happen. And I tried to do it from memory too, which was, you know, its own thing. This is ENX04's design. If you want to know how to make it, watch ENX04. Please watch ENX04. They explain it in a way that's, I mean, there are more viewed videos of this farm, but if you watch them and not Ian's, you'll probably make some of the mistakes I did. So just watch the original. I don't even know if yeah, we'll link it. We'll link it in the description. But yeah, it's a great farm. ENX04's farms are always great. The only problem with this farm is if anyone is in the overworld, it just doesn't work. So if you have multiplayer and someone's AFKing and say they're not AFKing like a farm, ask them to AFK in the nether and do it somewhere high up, maybe like even next to you, so that they're not, one, loading mobs down below, and then two, your farm can work. But yeah, no one's online right now, so we have kind of a functioning farm, which is perfect because I wanted to show y'all what I've been up to. So we did this. That was obviously pain, but the other part of this that was the pain was the overworld side. Of course, actually it wasn't that hard getting, I just boated the baby piglin over to the overworld, or not overworld, to the platform in the nether. So, and because it was a baby, it didn't hit me. It still does the same spawn mechanics. So I would suggest you get a baby one in a boat versus trying to put like a name tag on a sword wielding fellow. We're now going to head over to the overworld side of this farm, which I've flown to enough times where I think I can eyeball it. It's this direction, I think. But it's a good distance over here. And now, originally when I was wanting to build this farm, I didn't want to, it was kind of early in the game, and I didn't really want to kind of like help myself to, because I live in a village, right? So I've already essentially claimed an entire village for myself, and I felt bad kind of building over another one. Now, again, I don't have a lot of wither roses yet. I haven't really built like no one's built a farm for them. It's dangerous to build my own. So right now we're working with 5 on this side, and that's to keep anything that comes through from getting further. And obviously you can see it works for the skeletons and the pigmen. And now the water is a safeguard against blazes. I found that every once in a blue moon, a blaze will get through this farm. And maybe you have an auto clicker on, maybe something happened. I have died. It's not fun. I can't recommend. Do not recommend. So pretty much it's like it made a problem, and then we're like, oh, let's build another farm to fix that problem. And one of those farms we decided to fix that problem was a chicken farm. Now the chicken farm was actually for something else, but then we started realizing the eggs could be great to use to hatch chickens, so that when we do fight a wither, we can pick up a bunch of wither roses. That's actually how we died. We set up a wither fight, and we were right next to it when it spawned, and we didn't have our chest piece on. We had wings, and it just insta-killed us. Whoops. Now, technically speaking, I could go be lazy and just go through this portal. Do we do this? Because that would just get me back to where I want to go. Do we do it? Do we do it? I mean, I think it's fine. Here, we'll go through this one. I don't super remember if they despawned or not. So let's eat a bunch of food. Should you use your wither skull farm for transport? Probably not. Ah, it's fine, it's fine. We got some free levels. Look at that. It all worked out. We should also remember to turn that off. I think that's gonna turn it off. And another thing I keep forgetting to do is yep. Oh. I did do an unhinged. I see I made a list of things. I was like, oh, I should share this with you all and of what I've done. I did do one very unhinged thing that would have made a great time lapse. But it was like I did it in the wee hours of the night and I just completely forgot about it. So let's go check on that right now. It has absolutely no purpose. It's completely fueled by brainworms. I think it was done out of spite because I've built a couple farms out of prismarine and people have called them ugly, and I was like, well, I'll show you ugly. I rechanged this a little bit. You know, there's a place for your horse. I just made it a little prettier, you know. You might be connecting the dots. Well, luck, what did you do? Oh, look, more prismarine. I don't know. Is this a pattern of what's to come? Actually, let's fly over there at night because I feel like the lighting is prettier. Yep. Look at that monstrosity. And look, it goes all the way down to the water, too. Look, why'd you do this? So it was a floating brick in the sky, and I was like, well, let's make it into a tower or something. And I'm gonna do more spires, I think, like this around, like, for example. So yep, this is the idea. I got kind of inspired by like a Fortress of Solitude kind of theme from like Superman. Yes, someone has already called it a vape. You're not original if you thought that's what it looks like. It's gonna have more to it. I did do one thing which I thought was clever, so I wanted to spawn proof obviously these top blocks, but I didn't want to put like a light block up here. So I used these glow lichen and they kind of work perfectly. So from like, we do our light mod that tells us the light levels. It's just enough light where nothing will spawn, which I think is kind of a cool way of playing with the light aesthetic. Obviously, with this farm, you don't want to have a mob falling on you when you're doing an XP farm, because this farm is actually now fully set up for like an auto clicker. You can come in here, you can go right here against here, and then set your, you know, do an auto click thing. I think I have an auto clicker. I don't remember the hotkey for it though, but yeah, you just click it and punch away. You're close enough here with this trap door to get the levels, but far enough away where they won't hit you, and it kind of all just works out. Obviously that doesn't matter too much because I ended up dying. So I did this first, and then I got up to, and you'll just have to take my word for it, I got up to like 430 levels, and then I was building the Wither Skull farm, and I was having trouble. As you notice, the Wither Skull farm has a higher point and a lower point. I thought it would be very clever if I reversed those two portals. I didn't realize you can't do that with how elevation works and nether portals. It was a hard lesson learned, lots of frustration. Yeah. But we learned our lesson, and it works out. It just essentially works through cramming. So yeah, but I like this farm. It's got a good use for the lanterns. It's got, you know, I don't know. I like it. I like the tower. I think it's something fun to look into. Also, you have to remember there's like a lot of redstone to hide. You have to hide this thing that's up there. I mean, for perspective, where's the actual farm? I mean, we got this level for the farm. We got this level for the farm. We also did a little bit of a change. The prismarine autocrafts into prismarine blocks. Now we can also adjust that so it just keeps the prismarine. We're gonna try to start selling some of these blocks. Hopefully, really comes down. It really all circles back to if we had a Wither Rose farm, it would solve so many problems. We'd have black dye for the dark prismarine. We would have more Wither Roses to make the Wither Skull farm functional. I just really don't want to. I feel like I'm gonna die a bunch. I mean, the Endermen are gonna kill me. The Wither is gonna kill me. Someone flying around looking for Elytra and then losing all their stuff in the end. And even if like I give a warning, like don't go there, I'll still feel bad. So I don't know. Tell me what you think. Do you think a Wither Rose farm is worth it? I mean, it solves a lot of problems. It would be nice. I mean, technically speaking, I'd be fine with like 4 stacks of Wither Roses, and I would never need Wither Roses again. So I could set up the farm, run it for a bit, get like a shulker, and then just kill the Wither. And then if it gets, the chunk gets reset, I just don't care, kind of thing. Is that worth it? Is it worth it? Is it? I've never really set it up before. I know I've seen videos of people setting it up before. It looks a little tedious. I don't know. Tell me in the description. Tell me in the comments whether you think it's worth it. I'll look forward to your opinions this one time. Now, back to our usual scheduled programming. The rest of the stuff we've been working on is actually very village side. I've been trying to get resources prepared for when we inevitably start decorating the beaches. I wanted to populate them with, really the plan was armor stands. I want to do armor stands and like give them little outfits. Maybe have some like villagers and poses walk around the village. So like the beach is going to have regular folks. And then over in the village we just have like villagers pose walking around. Now this is where Luck's brain did an oopsie. I have never done an armor stand pose before, and I thought when you pose an armor stand it consumes the special book. So I was like, oh, I need a bunch of books obviously, and a bunch of ink, which I had. And the books I had I kind of used up all the leather I had making a stack of books. And then I was like, oh, I need feathers. And I looked everywhere, and I guess I've been throwing away my feathers all season, and I had none. So I thought to myself, well, we need to make a chicken farm. And I was like, well, it'd be nice to have like an automated chicken farm, you know? And so we just slowly started building out, and we came up with this monstrosity. We've already emptied out the raw chicken once, so I think it goes there. It works with the chunk loader, so I don't have to be on. We have a little mechanism here that allows us to get eggs with a little switch. We go like that and go like that, and it will feed this with eggs. And then the overflow will just work like normal in the whole system. But it's fully automated, so what happens is when this fills up... Let's see. I could turn it on. I guess I could turn it on. Let's use eggs from up here. So eggs go into these comparators. And when these... Where is it? Oh, okay. We did not get enough eggs. When these comparators get to a certain signal strength, essentially saying they're full, it turns on this redstone, which unlocks these hoppers into this dispenser. And then, like a couple ticks afterwards, this goes here, and the dispenser shoots. Well, it's not a dispenser, it's a dropper. You have to make sure it's a dropper, otherwise you're going to have eggs forming in your forming chickens in your water stream, and that has to be a mess. No, we don't want to take from there. But anywho, so this fills up with chickens, eggs. It's gonna go eventually. And what happens is it goes through here into this dispenser. This dispenser, when it shows it's full, will set off a thing. We'll shoot these into there. Obviously, it's done around, as you can see from down there. So this is going to be kind of a waste, because usually what happens is if there's too many entities in here, you'll end up killing the baby chickens as well as the adults. This timer, this whole system kind of times out perfectly, where by the time another round becomes adults, it shoots another round of babies in there. And, well, obviously it's pretty good. I mean, look how much chicken there is, so it's clearly working. Let's take 8. I think 8 is the magic number. And wha-bam. So, see, they go up there. They go over here. Fill up this, and then shoot out. And then obviously we have, so I did find that you need 2 item filters for the eggs, and then you need, one is fine for the feathers and one is fine for the chicken. Otherwise you'd get this filling up with eggs very slowly, but fast enough where it's a problem. The other thing we had to do, which I need to come in here because this is the bed I actually like using. Oh, that works out because we seem to have left our bed on our base. Is we, oh, this lot's a lot taken. We ended up getting some honey blocks because there was a different project we're working on as well. Anywho, we'll save that project for maybe next episode. So anywho, mistakes were made. We were actually, we have like, oh, we can hear it here too. We have like 30 book and quills, which I think I'll just use as like when I do the little armor stand fellas, I'll do like little lures with them. I think that might be fun. Now, anyways, I discovered this when I went to do my first armor stand. I also haven't super figured out, I don't know if you can do this, how you break an armor stand once you place it. We're still learning. We're kind of freehanding it. We're not super watching a tutorial on how to do it, which we probably should. We honestly probably should. But we did do one. Well, anyway, so I didn't know how to break it, and it was over here, and it was fighting me. I wasn't doing what I wanted it to, and then I may have hit it with my sword, and it fell in the water. And then I was like, well, now you're really stuck. So we ended up making a fish statue in the water by our farm. And if you know anything about armor stands, you know that this is 2 armor stands, one for the helmet and one for the figure itself. Don't worry, that trident is practically broken. Well, that's a good amount of iron. Iron farm is still going, obviously. Now, because we're making all these fellas, whether they're villagers or beachgoers or what, they're going to need clothing. And that means leather armor. Obviously, we might do some chainmail stuff. We don't really have a source of chainmail, so we might actually have to ask some of the other Januscraft members if they have some way of getting those. Maybe we'll do a trade with them. I know some people have, like, skeleton farms and stuff, or zombie farms, so they might actually have a good source of like chainmail stuff we can unenchant and kind of make plain. That'd be nice. That'd be some cool variety we could add to the statues. Because also, you remember, you can stack statues on top of each other, so you can give like very custom looks. You can make, for example, a leather tunic with a chainmail overlay to it, which I think would be very cool. And then you can also use armor trims too, so you can get really, really elaborate t-shirts that you have to put a lot of work and a lot of resources in. But I think it would be cool. I think they'll be cool. Kind of like the hat, because the hat is, it's just, the armor stand is just a little bit higher. So here we've gotten our leather stuff. We've already washed everything. So if you don't know, you can take leather clothing, and it's about 3 dyed items per cauldron, and then you just kind of refill it with an infinite water source. The other thing, so we bought out the stock of these. We bought out the player heads from Liz, and we also bought some of their villager heads too, but we've also been collecting our own, obviously. And we realized, well, in here we have our villager breeder, right? All well and good, but it's kind of a problem to move them out every time you need more villagers. So there's this little escape hole, and baby villagers can't help themselves. They fall down here, grow up, and I can come down here, do my crimes, and it won't affect my trades up above. Now, what do you mean by trades up above? Obviously, all this stuff, all this decorating costs a lot of emeralds. So we finally got to the point where we need some iron trades. And so we have some new dedicated villagers. And what we did is there's a water source up there that pushes them off their bed every time, but they're still able to sleep. And the reason for this is a lot of times when you have villager training halls, like just normal ones where you're not forcing them forward. Let me see if I can find an example. They will... Are none of you going to be a problem? Usually they'll hang out so far back on their bed you can't click them. So you obviously can't trade. Obviously those fellows... Oh, that's the thing. They can see each other, so they want to chat. Which becomes its own problem because then they don't reset their trades very often. But these traders, I don't spam use them like the iron traders. So they don't have to... Oh yeah, see, they can still sleep. It's also good to be around these villagers sometimes because they take a little bit. Like, look, some of them are in their bed, and just that one is not. I don't know. Yeah, it took them like way longer than the normal villager. I think it's still done fast enough where it'd be before we sleep, so we wouldn't mess up the system too much. But yeah, you know, we just did a couple things. It was, so for context, the context I will give, because it was a lot of stuff that I don't want to overshare too much, but essentially stuff that was happening outside my place that was just making it too loud to record. And also there was a couple days where it was just like very hot, and I don't have AC here, so I have 2 options for suffering in the heat. I can open a window or put a fan on. And if I open a window, anyone who's ever maybe heard me on other people's streams will know that I have very noisy cars that go across the street where I live. And the other option is a fan, which is just, that's also just not good for recording. So it's just like a lose-lose situation. Oh, look at that. We're just seeing an iron golem die in the background. That's dark. That's dark. But as you can see, we've been busy. Essentially, we're trying to get ready to do all these armor stands. And I think, is it on my person or is it in my ender chest? We have all the armor stands crafted. Because we were like, oh, we'll do a stack of each. We'll do a stack of armor stands and a stack of... Yeah, look at all those book and quills. Mistakes were made. Mistakes were made. Oh, look at all these books and quills I made. And then... all we needed is one of these, just one. That's it. But we have all the armor stands we need. I misplaced, I think, one of them. I'm so glad we didn't craft the rest of these into stuff. That would have been so painful. But I think these will be good. We can make lecterns and put them down and do like little lore things. Like you could run around the beach and just kind of do like a little bit of lore, and like this will give something for other people to do. Maybe if they're streaming, they can come over to my beach and do a little side quest of, I'll do kind of like different branch things, like, oh, go over here, talk to this person, find this person. Maybe I'll even give some prizes. And that comes full circle into the main plan, because the problem, well, I mean, I like to give out, I like to reward people for their hard work and effort. And I was mining, well, I wasn't mining, I was getting killed by withers, and I found some deep slate, and I mined it with my silk. And I thought to myself, well, it's not really a fully original idea. It was reminded to me by watching one of the Hermitcraft videos. I forgot. It's the snail shop where everyone's gambling, essentially. And I think they have it so it's more of a deal where, like, you can actually, you're more likely to make a profit. But I was like, what if I do kind of like a gotcha system here with the diamond ore and give it out as prizes for the little side quests in different amounts? That would be kind of fun. Now, the problem with that is we need a source of diamonds. Now, we kind of have a spot figured out for this project. But as you can see from the map, we've attempted to do a couple wither fights that have gone different ways. This was the wither fight. The one with the obsidian here is where I was like, I filled the room up with chickens and iron golems. And I was like, oh, I'll sit there with my bow and let everything get killed and then pick stuff up. And then I went boom and pain. But I mean, we did get some stuff from it at the end. We got 23 wither roses, which you saw in the nether doing their work. But that was really not worth it. It was, oh, the pain. And I was going to do another one here, but we kind of were thinking to ourselves, oh, we should build out a little thing here. And so I can't remember what we were going to build. It was something like, well. So we have some stuff here, some stuff gathered, and the other thing, got our redstone, got all our stuff. And the idea was that we do a sort of like a tunnel bore kind of situation in this area, because if you look on the map, we have kind of a straight line this way we could do, I was thinking, because this is Sasha's Delulu right here. But I was like, what if we just kind of like mine out this whole area completely with a tunnel bore? Then we'll have plenty of diamonds that we can give out as prizes. Now, the flip side of this, if we do too much, we'll have so many diamonds, we'll actually ruin the economy. We'll single-handedly break the server's economy with how much stuff we'll give out for our side quests, because people just do the side quests over and over and over. And I think we might have to figure out some kind of redstone to give out like a ticket, like a once a couple Minecraft day ticket. We do have that sensor that does Minecraft day counters, and I think it works even if I'm not on the server, like with the chunk loader. I think so. It is within the range of the chunk loader, obviously, because the iron farm works with the chunk loader. Now, the question is, how accurate does it count stuff, even if people aren't on your dailies? It's like your dailies in like an MMO or a gacha, where it's like, oh, come back in so-and-so hours, and then, you know, get another ticket for the side quest, which I haven't figured out the name for. And I think some of them will be harder. I think I think I might have to like also do like some caveats would be like, oh, put your stuff in an ender chest. Here's some quest iron armor that has, you know, and I'll just randomly enchant some stuff, because I do have that gold farm. I can get a lot of levels. I can sit there and randomly enchant. Especially if I run this farm for a bit, maybe I'll get some lapis. Or not farm, it's not farm, it's a tunnel bore. Did I go the wrong way? I went the wrong way. But yeah, so that's the idea. That's what's to look forward to in the planning. And yeah, I'm kind of excited for it. I'm sorry I did so much without anyone being able to see it. Life happens. It just happens that way sometimes. If anything, you gotta see it without the growing pains. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this episode. It's a little bit shorter than usual. I hope that's fine with you. Obviously, don't forget to like and subscribe. Share the video if you liked it. Give some comments what you think I should do for side quests. Also, less work, but still also very appreciated, is names for these side quests. I think It'd be fun to have some fantasy-based names. You know, think D&D or stuff like that, Baldur's Gate kind of stuff. And, you know, let your imagination run wild. Obviously, keep it, you know, PG-13. Don't get yourself banned from the comments, because I'll do it. I'll do it if you don't behave. Don't join that club. That's a club that you don't want to join. But anyways, thanks so much. Have a great day. Hopefully next video will be a little bit more back to the normal with, you know, time lapses and playing and, you know, all that stuff. But, you know, gotta sometimes you just gotta compromise, and that's fine. Well, anyways, thanks again. Bye bye.